How's it going? It's that nerd Ryan here. Welcome to the review for Across the Spider-Verse. So I'll clarify this really quick. So the first Spider-Verse movie, I had no interest in seeing. I got dragged to it and I ended up loving it. This movie, I had little interest seeing, and I saw it for you guys, and I ended up enjoying it. So moral of the story is, I cannot trust my instinct. So this movie does improve a lot onto the first movie, and it does, like, great cameos, great one-liners, great acting, great animation, just everything. I'm sorry, I literally just woke up, so after seeing this movie, so I'm a little out of it, but I mean, I wanted to talk about it with you guys before I forget anything. But yeah, so this movie mostly focuses on Gwen, which is great. We're not going to talk about spoilers for the movie for a couple more minutes. I'm going to let you guys know when that happens. But it focuses more on Gwen, and it introduces a lot of other characters and potential Easter eggs and actual Easter eggs too. We'll talk about that in a second because I think there was trying to be a Spider-Verse comic reference in it. I'm not 100% sure if it was, but it felt like it. I don't know if it truly was though. And then just the main 5 Spider-Man that were in this were pretty cool. I mean, main 6. Yeah, main 6. Were very cool, and then it really ends on a cliffhanger is all I'm going to say. Like, it kind of actually feels like the ending came out of nowhere. Obviously, it's leading to the third movie, but yeah, the ending was like blindsiding. And like, holy crap, why did it go black at this point? But yeah, it was very enjoyable experience. I got to see it with my friend, and like, there's so many Easter eggs in this where I kept sitting doing the like Leo like, oh thing, because I mean, it literally was like every frame had an Easter egg in it. So I am giving this movie a 9 out of 10. Thought it was very good and enjoyable and a fun movie. There's no post-credit scene. I will say that here. But after that, we are now officially talking spoilers. So please, if you haven't seen the movie yet, do not watch this video from this point on. Alright, good. I'm going to give it 10 more seconds because I don't want anybody that's, not paying attention fully without telling them. I apologize again for yawning, but that was also the symbol of us talking about spoilers. Okay, so we get the first 15 minutes with Gwen. Kind of in her backstory, her universe, what she's been up to. So basically, if anybody doesn't know, the origin for Ghost Spider or Spider-Gwen is she became Spider-Woman instead of Peter. Peter kind of was jealous, so he became the Lizard, and then accidentally dies during their fight, in which Gwen's father, Captain Stacy, blames Spider-Woman and is chasing after her. Obviously, he doesn't know that Gwen is Spider-Woman. So, Vulture from, like, the Renaissance era shows up, and she ends up fighting it. In that, Miguel O'Hara shows up, aka Spider-Man 2099, to take care of him. He doesn't show up to help. He actually kind of treats Gwen like she's in the way, which is a big character thing for him. Is he always does that in this movie, and we find out why later. I apologize. But we find out why later, and they end up like needing backup. So Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman, shows up on her motorcycle. She's pregnant. We get one of the funniest lines of Gwen going, "Can you adopt me?" like just randomly. But they end up saving everybody and taking down the Vulture. As that happens, though, Gwen kind of gets left alone, where she runs into her father, who's about to shoot her and or arrest her. So she takes off the mask, revealing that she's his daughter, and he still tries to arrest her. So in that, she ends up going with Spider-Man 2099 and Spider-Woman, and then we get cut to Miles. So we find out it's been about a year and a half since the last event, and Miles' dad's about to make captain. Miles' parents are looking into college for him, and he's doing good being Spider-Man. While he's trying to meet for a college interview, or the interview with the guidance counselor, the Spot shows up. For those of you who don't know, the Spot's like, literally, they say this in the movie, and it's honestly true. He's kind of a villain of the week. Kind of just a lame thug that can, like, teleport through portals and has portals on his body. He's basically... He is and he isn't, because I know somebody's going to be like, actually their powers are completely different. But he's basically Marvel's Polka Dot Man. And yeah, I know their powers are different, but like a joke character sort of thing that media kind of actually turned into a pretty good villain with the 90s Spider-Man show and with this. But yeah, they end up fighting, and it's honestly a goofy fight because the Spot doesn't know how to control his powers, and Miles is just being Miles. He ends up beating him by making a web with his own body. And then goes to the interview only to leave right away because the Spot got away. In that, he fights with his parents, and they're upset with him for constantly not showing up, and yada yada yada. And I do gotta say, the Morales family's dynamic is just so perfect in it that I actually got jealous. Like, I was like, this is literally the best family dynamic I've ever seen in movies and in real life. But yeah, so anyways, you could tell Miles' parents, even when they're yelling at him, that they love him. Truly love him. And they're doing things to make sure that he's safe and everything. So anyways, his dad's having a party. Again, Miles shows up late. Very late. And his parents are upset. They ground him for 3 months, I believe. But then Gwen shows up. Him and Gwen go web swinging, where she leaves a device at a certain area that's by the Spot's base of operations, and then keeps swinging, and then they end up back at Miles' party, and she meets his parents. At first they don't really like her because she calls them by their first names, which is a thing that they talked about earlier, that they don't like when people do that. But Miles' mom sees how much he likes her and everything, and sends him off with her. Again, not knowing what's going on. And they go ahead, they start, she goes off to fight the Spot, he goes with her, only to find out that, they don't want him in this, spider society, because, she's talking to Jessica Drew, and she's like, no, you can't see Miles Morales ever again, don't do blah, blah, blah. And then Miles ends up following her into the Spider-Man India universe, where the Spot's at, and the three of them, she finds out Miles is there, the three of them go and try to fight after the Spot, where Punk Spider-Man shows up, which he kind of has a thing with Gwen, but not really. It's like complicated. It reminds me a lot of the Batman and Wild Style thing in the Lego Movie, which written by the same people. And there is a Lego Movie cameo in this. I forgot to say that. They used the Lego-verse Spider-Man, which I thought was hilarious. But yeah, anyways. So, they end up, like, fighting the Spot. The Spot gets well overpowered, and the building starts to collapse. As that happens, they're all stopping the building, but there's a point where Pitor, which is the Spider-Man from Spider-Man India, his girlfriend is about to fall from a bus, and on the other side, his girlfriend's dad is about to get crushed by rubble trying to save a kid. So this is called a canon event. This happens to every Spider-Man, and Miles stops it, thus possibly destroying the universe. A black hole shows up, but it could have possibly been the Spot. It could have been destroying the universe. So at that, they're all sent to Spider-Man 2099's universe in his building, full of basically every Spider-Man. We get like cool cameos from like Spectacular Spider-Man. We get Donald Glover, actual human, not animated Donald Glover, dressed as the Prowler. Bunch of other cameos. We get the newly introduced, I can't remember what she was actually called, but the disabled Spider-Man is also in that. And just, like, there's so many different cameos. It feels like every time you watch this movie, you're going to call out a different Spider-Man. Ben Reilly's in there. And, like, you get to see Kane for a second. It's just really cool. And then you officially meet Miguel O'Hara with Miles, who is a complete jerk, and apparently a vampire, which I think is supposed to be a reference to the Inheritors, which was confusing me. But, yeah, and I thought, like, they're going to introduce the Inheritors in the third movie. They aren't going to. It's all about the Spot. But yeah, so anyways, they go to, or he's like kind of yelling at Miles and everything, and then Peter B. Parker shows up, and he has a baby. And like basically it's kind of like a catch-up moment with Peter B. Parker. And it turns out Miguel found a universe where he died, but like he was living a happy life, so he tried to take over, and that apparently destroyed the universe. Peter was there to help him, and the universe just got destroyed. So that's why he's trying to stop all these canon events from happening. Or trying to make sure these canon events happen. Here's where Miles finds out that like everybody was lying to him and nobody was visiting him because Miguel said that Miles shouldn't exist because it was a spider from an alternate Spider-Verse. Which is important to remember that. And basically like Miles tries to make a break for it to go, or he finds out that the canon event that's supposed to happen to him is that his dad is supposed to die. So he tries to break away and get back to his universe, and he like chases away, fights Miguel, fights every Spider-Man. But yeah, he ends up going to the Wayback Machine, which sends him back to home. I think it was actually called the Go Home Machine or whatever. And he gets teleported back. At that, Gwen gets forcefully teleported back, and Peter goes back as well. During this time, Gwen figures out that she makes amends with her father and figures she's going to save Miles. So she goes back to Miles' universe. Miguel, Ben O'Reilly, and Jessica Drew go to also chase after Miles. They're all surrounding his house, and Gwen gets into the house. As Miles gets into the house, they do not see each other. That's the biggest hint. Initially, I thought maybe Gwen showed up to his college dorm and Miles showed up home, or vice versa. But Miles' mom walks into the room and talks to him, asks what's wrong with his hair, which, like, you initially think, oh, maybe it was the fight, and he finally tells her that he's Spider-Man. And her response is, who the hell is Spider-Man? So, because of the spider bite DNA from a different universe, Miles got sent to that spider's universe, where there's no Spider-Man. And his uncle is alive, but his dad is dead, and Miles is a criminal. But he's not just a criminal, we'll get to that in a second. So, Gwen meets the parents again and makes amends with them and promises she'll bring their son home. And Peter decides to join in. We get to see Gwen recruit everybody to go and save Miles, who ends up meeting his alternate self, who is the Prowler. And that's how the movie ends. So yeah, like I said, big cliffhanger. Miles is trapped by himself, or Miles is trapped by the Prowler version of himself. Gwen's out to save him. Miguel is obviously tracking him down, and there's a ticking clock that the Spot is going to kill Miles' dad. So yeah, I mean, it's a good movie. It's really exciting, really funny, and just really enjoyable. So like I said, a 9 out of 10. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell. Follow me on all my social media down below. It's that Nerd Ryan, signing off.